Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Season 2 of the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone Puzzle Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching, creator of the Hormone Puzzle Method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptom of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the fields of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get started on your road to transformation. Today's guest is Dr. Amy Divaraniya. She is the CEO and co-founder of Oova, a women's health company. She has more than 10 years of experience as a data scientist and has both led and published original research in the areas of personal genomics and biomarker discovery. Her solid understanding of biology and being able to apply complex analysis has led her to innovative projects in the healthcare space. In 2017, Dr. Amy chose to pivot her career as a data scientist and devote herself to improving women's healthcare. After facing her own struggles with conceiving her son, Dr. Amy decided to build a solution to help women having difficulty getting pregnant. Today, her and her team have built the first at-home test, Oova, that measures multiple hormones through urine samples and provides personalized results and insights on a woman's fertility. As a response to COVID-19, Oova has done an early release of their product. Oova has resonated with many women and clinicians and is now being adopted by fertility clinics and hospitals across the country. Let's welcome Dr. Amy to the show. Make sure you stay for the entire show to receive a gift from our sponsor, Oova. Hey, Dr. Amy, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kayla. It's so nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you.
I know it's I've been following a lot of what you do, and I think there's so much synergy between all of our efforts. So I'm super excited to talk about Oova and what we're doing here.
Yes, I love it. So tell me a little bit more about you. How did you get started in this industry and working in women's health, and kind of how you decided to create Oova?
Sure. It's kind of interesting because I never foresaw myself being where I am today. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have painted a very different picture than what is reality. But a little about me, I come from a very heavy science background. I have a PhD in biomedical sciences, but actually come from industry. So I was a data scientist at Roche for about 5 years, researcher at Bristol Myers Squibb prior to that. Basically what happened was I decided to start trying to have a baby towards the end of my PhD. The plan was, let's set my dissertation date. 9 months prior, we're going to get pregnant, and then my water will break during my defense, and I won't have to defend, and we'll be good to go. So win-win across the board. That was the plan. That's the type A person that I am, where I had everything scheduled to the date. But going into our journey, we had expected the path to parenthood to not be as streamlined as many. So mostly because I've had irregular cycles my whole life. My husband and I were also both a little older. We were already into our 30s when we started trying. And I also have an autoimmune disease. I have celiac. So it's
Wow.
pretty much under control, but when I get flare-ups, it's pretty bad. So, I mean, fertility has been thought to be affiliated with celiac as well. So we did decide early on that if we didn't conceive naturally, then we did not want to pursue the invasive route. It was actually a lot easier for me to make peace with possibly never being a mom than it was to go through a failed cycle or a potential miscarriage. I honestly just didn't think I could deal with the loss. And for the women and couples that go through that, I have so much respect for them because it is a grueling process. And I didn't think I could emotionally deal with it. So my husband and I were both aligned on that. We decided, like, we're going to do this naturally. If it doesn't happen, parenthood is just not in our cards. Really easy decision to make, to be quite honest, but tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I started doing everything right. I started peeing on sticks every morning. I took my body temperature 4:30 a.m. every day. I used every fertility tracking app. And luckily, after 18 months, I conceived my son. But those 18 months were the most devastating of my life. And the worst part was I didn't really learn anything about my cycle. All I found out was that I had irregular ones, and I knew that going into my journey. Right. I also realized that all of the tools I was using were basically hardwired for that woman who had a perfect 28 to 32 day cycle, and that just wasn't me. So as I went through all of my data, I was like, the piece that is missing is really understanding what my hormones are doing. And that's where the idea for Oova was born. But here I am today, 3 years later.
I love that story. And it sounds very similar. You know, we went through a 2-year struggle with infertility, unexplained. Nobody could tell us what was wrong. And it's devastating and it's heartbreaking. And you're like, why? I don't understand this. And so the fact that you've created something to help make this process easier, to help us learn our hormones, what our bodies are doing is just amazing. So let's get into that a little bit. Tell us what is Oova and how does it work?
Sure. So there's 3 characteristics of Oova that we were trying to solve, right? So take the product out, like what is the mission of what we're trying to do? The first thing was that we want to be able to provide really accurate and personalized data. So a lot of the tests that are available today for at-home use are qualitative, meaning that there's a threshold, your hormone levels have to be above that threshold, and then you get that positive result. Well, what if you have irregular cycles or irregular hormone levels? Like for me, I only got a high result, I think 5 to 6 times in my entire journey.
Wow.
I never got peak. In 18 months, I had to have been ovulating more than 5 or 6 times.
Right.
So, what I realized with Oova is that my threshold was it was just too high for me. My peak was just way much lower than that. So the test had to be completely personalized. The second piece is it had to be non-invasive. So we didn't want people taking blood at home. We didn't want them trying to figure out how to send samples to a lab. It had to all be done in a non-invasive fashion. And then third, it had to be super convenient. So not only are we providing the results to the user, so the woman who's trying to get pregnant at home, but if she has to work with a doctor, we want to be able to convey that data and the information that's relevant to the doctor directly to them. So the patient is not stressing, does my doctor need to know this? Do I need to share this information? Oova should take care of all of it for her, right? So that's what we've created with Oova now. It took us 3 years to get here, but what we've developed is an at-home test that monitors multiple fertility hormones through urine and tracks that data over time. So what we measure are the quantitative levels of luteinizing hormone and progesterone. And the key aspect of our platform is that because we're quantitative, we capture what every woman's unique baseline levels are, and then we detect fluctuations by comparing to that. So it's really great for women who have those irregular cycles because we don't care if your baseline is really high or really low or in the middle. We wait for your differential between your daily hormone levels to be a certain amount between your baseline and that daily measurement, and then tell you where you are in your cycle.
Gotcha. I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So talk to us about how this might be different from, other fertility trackers that are out there.
Sure. So the best way to kind of answer that question is to lump the other fertility trackers into like 3 different categories. So you have your typical urine-based test, right? So those are the ovulation tests that you can buy on Amazon or your local drugstore. And the big issue here is that they're all qualitative. So they have done studies with, or not even studies, I want to say like the research that's been out in the universe since like 1970 has determined what that typical threshold, that typical LH to progesterone behavior is. And then they set a threshold thing that if your LH levels are above this threshold, then you're going to get a high or a peak result.
Right.
So there's 2 thresholds in every test to indicate where you are in your cycle. Now with Oova, we don't care about that threshold, because what if you're just not hitting that, or you're always above it? Like if you have PCOS and your LH levels are just super elevated, it might be your normal. It doesn't mean you're ovulating for 28 days.
Right.
So we actually quantitatively measure those hormone levels and then learn what is happening with your fertility profile. So every result is personalized. The other key aspect is that there's no other test on the market that measures both LH and progesterone. So we not only tell a woman when her most fertile days are, but we also confirm that she actually ovulated.
Wow.
And that's really critical for women who are trying to get pregnant later in life, which is honestly the norm now.
Right.
This isn't a stigma. This should not be a stigma.
Right.
I mean, it's just a fact. The next group of I guess, fertility monitors are the temperature sensors, right? So what these devices are trying to do are measure a slight rise in temperature that happens right before ovulation or at ovulation.
Right.
The problem is that rise in temperature that you're looking at is so small. You're talking about 0.5 to 1 degree. And you can imagine now, especially like I remember my temperature was all over the place. Your body temperature fluctuates for so many reasons that have nothing to do with ovulation. Did you sleep with a blanket on? Did you have alcohol the night before? Do you have a fever? Did you sleep with the window open tonight? Like there's so many factors. And the key thing is you have to measure that temperature at pretty much the same time every day. And that's hard to do.
Right. I know I had one lady told me she was measuring like after she got her nails done every day or something every week. I'm like, okay, that is completely wrong.
Right. Yeah, it's to be in a resting state. And what if you didn't sleep well, or you've been rolling around for a little while in bed before you take your temperature? All of that impacts the result. So with Oova, like we take out all that subjectivity. Even though you're getting a quantitative temperature measurement, I still consider it to be somewhat subjective because there's so many factors that can influence that result.
For sure.
And then the third category are like the more invasive tests. So the at-home finger prick tests or going into the clinic for routine blood draws. They're useful. Of course, blood is the gold standard for monitoring these hormones. However, they're invasive, they're costly, and they don't help you to identify any trends in your cycle. So with luteinizing hormone and progesterone, these hormones fluctuate daily. So it's really critical to measure either on a certain day and know what that day actually is for you. You can't just say day 14 because I'm probably ovulating then. You may very well not be ovulating on day 14 and miss that fertile window completely. And you need to be able to monitor what that trend looks like over time. So that time point data it's not useful for helping you get pregnant.
I love that. Such great advice and information. So tell me a little bit more about Oova itself. Like, how do we use it? Can you show it to us? I know people watching on YouTube want to see it and kind of explain like what it looks like and how to use it.
Sure. So I'm going to show you the new design that's coming out very soon.
Yay!
You're getting a sneak peek at this. So the kit comes with a handle, a holder that looks like this, and then it comes with 15 disposable cartridges that look like this. I'll describe this a little bit. There's a sample pad, a QR code, and a window that shows 1, 2, or 3 lines. So every one of our cartridges measures both LH and progesterone. So you don't have to juggle, do I have to use an LH strip today or a progesterone strip today? Every day you use Oova, you get both hormone measurements.
Wow.
This works alongside a smartphone app. So basically what happens is when you download the app, you're taken through an extensive onboarding process. We ask you a lot of information about your reproductive history, menstrual cycles, general wellness. We feed that into our machine learning algorithm, and we determine which 15 days of your cycle you need to use an Oova test. So you're not guessing. Because for someone like me who has really irregular cycles, when I open up that ovulation kit and there's that table that says, if your cycle is X number of days long, start testing on this day, I never fell on that table.
Right.
So we take all that guesswork out. And what happens is on a scan day, you'll be prompted in the app to provide a urine sample on Oova. And we work as a midstream or as a dip test. You then wait 10 minutes with the timer directly in the app. And when the timer goes off, it opens up the camera on your phone and you scan this. So thanks to COVID, everyone knows what this QR code is.
Yes.
You basically align this cartridge in the boundary box that shows up in the app, and we scan this window and do all the analytics directly on the phone. So the woman gets her results within seconds.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So the results that she sees, we want to make them as actionable as possible, right? So we tell her exactly where she is in her cycle. Are you in low, high peak ovulation? Have you released an egg or not? How many days post-ovulation are you? We also provide her with normalized hormone concentrations for both LH and progesterone. And then the last piece, and I think you'll really appreciate this, we provide a daily action plan. So that's something in nutritional health, physical health, and emotional wellness, because we believe that fertility should be looked at holistically and not in a silo.
I love that. Oh, what a great tool. I mean, I know I've seen your results and it's helped so many people. And so I love that this is available and that you guys created this. So thank you for that. Yes. And so, talk to me a little bit more about, some things you said that you offer kind of a daily action steps. So what would be some of those things? I know we talk a lot on this show about nutrition and wellness and all of that. So just give me kind of like your 3 main tips that you recommend.
Absolutely. So they're all customized for you. So basically what happens is when you register in our app, and as you continue to log different things in the app as well, you can track up to 25 different things. That all helps guide what your action plans will be each day. So for example, let's say you have a woman who has really high BMI, slightly overweight, needs to, it'll help her to reduce some of that weight. What we may recommend is that she goes out for a 5-minute walk after every meal. Another option might be that if someone is reporting that they're having trouble sleeping, we may provide some tips on how to improve your sleep quality. So let's leave your phone outside of your bedroom tonight, or let's make your action plan for tomorrow tonight, so you're not thinking about what needs to be done in the morning. Another one might be just various stretches to help loosen up the muscles in our hips and in our thighs, because those get really tight and that can actually influence intercourse. There's a lot of things that it can influence. So we try to make recommendations in really bite-sized pieces so that we don't want to be like that source of stress. Like, oh my God, I have 3 more things to do today. I didn't do yesterday's or the day before. These are all meant to be guidance so that you can start establishing better habits. And this is really all stemmed from my journey, because I remember when we were trying to get pregnant, I knew I had to eat a well-balanced diet. I would stand in my kitchen every night looking at my fridge, what am I supposed to eat? And I would be Googling, what is a well-balanced diet? And you're taught that from preschool, but it seems that when you're going through this fertility journey, all of that kind of leaves your mind.
Right.
Common sense is not present anywhere. You need someone to just spoon feed it to you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just your mind is so preoccupied with so much other stress.
Right.
So we just try to help and be that guidance to help you make the right decisions.
I love that. And, I always talk about that on this show. If you can just make 1% improvement from what you did yesterday, it's not that you have to do 20 new things. Let's just pick one thing. So I feel like what you guys are providing, just simple, actionable daily steps that we can take. So that is so helpful. And definitely I can agree with the looking in the fridge and even me, I have a background in nutrition. What do I eat? I need to be eating for fertility. What does that mean? So it can get very confusing and overwhelming. So thank you for providing that. I love it. So we're going to take a short break and we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, which is Oova. And we're going to come right back in and talk more about some success stories that you guys might have had, or some more practical tips on fertility. So we will be right back. Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor is Oova, the first fertility translator that fully illuminates your fertility, giving you the clearest steps to conception. Oova's at-home urine test measures both luteinizing hormone and progesterone to inform you of your most fertile days and confirm that you released an egg this cycle. Oova does all the interpreting within seconds, revealing action plans with every hormone reading. You get wellness guidance and also know when to have sex or eat chocolate and tune out. Founded by doctors and backed by Mount Sinai Hospital, Oova ensures each data point is valuable to patients and healthcare providers. For more information, visit their website at oova.life or at oovalife on Instagram. Use code THPS1 at checkout for $10 off and free shipping. Now back to our show. Welcome back, Dr. Amy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us some success stories that you guys have had. Like, what are a couple of your favorites?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Because honestly, this is the most rewarding job to be in. You're literally helping life happen.
Right. I say that all the time. I say, like, I cannot believe I get to do this for work. It's like we're creating humans. We're helping to create humans. It's awesome.
It's amazing. And like for me, the most like the best aspect of this is really being able to empower women with information about their health, right? So yes, we can help you get pregnant, but really what we're doing is educating you on your body so you can have an informative conversation going forward. So one of my favorite success stories was early on when we had just launched the product. We're completely a data-driven platform, right? So the more data you get, the smarter it gets. So early on, like, yes, we've done training, but what we're yearning for is more data. So this woman came into the platform, and a lot of our platform is driven by your period. That initiates your cycle. Like, it helps with a lot of your predictions that we make. So when she registered in the app, she said that her period was over a year ago. And I reached out to her because, this is like patient number 2 that we have coming in. And so I reached out, I'm like, is this a typo or is this accurate? She said, no, it's accurate. I got pregnant. I've been breastfeeding and my cycle hasn't returned yet. So I've had, like, my period just hasn't come. And I was like, okay, well, our predictions might be a little off cycle 1, but we'll get smarter as time goes on. So let's just try it. And she was willing to work with us on that. So cycle 1, she didn't get pregnant. But we learned a lot. We learned a lot about her LH surge. We learned that she was ovulating, even though that her period hadn't come back yet, which is really interesting. And then in cycle 2, we actually pinpointed her fertile window perfectly, and she conceived.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's amazing. And it's so crazy that you tell that story right now, because my best friend and I had a conversation this morning. She's breastfeeding. She cannot get pregnant. And she was like, I don't even think I'm ovulating. Maybe I should stop breastfeeding. And I'm like, no, you're ovulating. We just need to figure out when it is. So I love that you told that. I need to tell her now. She has to get Oova. That's awesome.
It's really about understanding what your hormones are doing, because if you try to follow all your body symptoms, like especially postpartum, they're really out of whack. Even your hormones are really out of whack, but you want to understand, like, that's the one objective thing that you can look at to understand what's going on.
Right.
And if they're out of whack, like, how out of whack am I?
Right. I love that.
So that was a really fun story that we had. We had another success story that happened over just at the end of last year. This woman, she was a little bit older. She was in her early 40s. And her first 2 children had been through IUI. Both of her kids, she had gone through several rounds of IUI and she was able to conceive them. But for her 3rd child, she wanted to try naturally. And so she was working with one of our providers. So Oova partners with a lot of clinicians to share the data with them so they can treat their patients with the objective hormone measurements and understand the trends. So she was using the Oova data with her clinician, and her clinician helped her clean up her diet a lot and make a lot of recommendations. With the Oova data, she actually put her on supplementary progesterone to help with the luteal phase and make sure the progesterone remained elevated post-surge. And she used Oova for 2 cycles. First cycle, it was like completely off. Like, she didn't have an LH surge. Her progesterone was low. She didn't ovulate. Like, it was really out of whack. Second cycle, they made a lot of modifications between the first and second cycle. She was able to see that proper LH surge and the progesterone rise happened. So the patient decided, all right, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm going to go in for the IUI because I think it'll work. Right. And so she has the appointment for the IUI and was still using Oova throughout, and noticed that her LH and her progesterone were really high one day. And you shouldn't really see that, right? So she contacted her clinician saying, like, is this, like, what's going on? And Turns out it was because she had conceived and didn't
Wow.
have to go through the IUI.
Yeah.
And Oova was actually able to detect that because what happened was the LH antibody was actually binding to beta HCG, the pregnancy hormone.
Right.
So the two hormones are really similar in shape. Sorry, I'll nerd out a little bit.
Yeah, no, I love it.
They're very similar in shape. So our antibody actually binds to both. And so we got a false positive on the LH surge, but the progesterone was like off the chart. So little insider tip, if you see both your LH and progesterone going up, you should definitely take a pregnancy test and shortly after that.
Right. I love it. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, so cool. So talk to me a little bit. You said the second patient, user had worked with her clinician. So how do you guys team with clinicians?
Sure. So it's really interesting. This actually came out of COVID. We didn't anticipate this to be as adopted as it has been, but what happened was Oova actually spun out of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, and we approached our product development from the data side. So what I wanted to make sure was if a patient goes to a clinician with Oova data, I wanted them to take that data and take the next step, not just put it to the side with the binders of like the ovulation strip pictures and BBTs that they just like push to the side. I wanted them to take the next step with the Oova data. So we kind of involved clinicians in our product development from the very beginning to ensure that the data would be useful to them and the patient. So when COVID hit, especially in the New York City area, which is where Oova is based, a lot of clinics are being forced to shut down, postpone, or cancel treatments, and that left both patients and clinics pretty devastated. Mm-hmm. Right? So we started getting a lot of inbound interest from clinicians to utilize our platform to enable them to do remote hormone monitoring. Wow. And so they quickly put together a HIPAA compliant dashboard. And what happens is when the woman scans her Oova test, and if she's working with the clinic, she actually enters the clinic ID in the app. Once she scans it, the data is ported not only in the app, but it's also ported to the clinician's dashboard. So the clinic is able to view your patient's data in real time.
I love that. That's amazing.
And that's where I was talking about, like, we actually pick and choose what information to share with the clinic that will be relevant for them. Right. So you don't have to worry, like, do I have to share my sleep quality? Do I have to share what that was like bloated yesterday? Right. We take care of all of that for you.
Wow. I love it. What a great tool. I love it. So talk to me a little bit more about, any insights that you have for, or advice for women who might be struggling with infertility.
I wish somebody had said this to me when I was going through my journey. Please exercise self-forgiveness because like for me, it was the darkest time of my life and there was so much good happening around me. I got my PhD. My husband got a new job. We moved. My sister got engaged. Like there was just so much positivity happening around me. And I was in the darkest spot. Every day I'm like lying in bed, like screaming at myself, like, why did you take birth control pills? Why did you take the metformin when you didn't have PCOS? Did you really have to hit that achievement at work? Like we should have tried two years ago. Why did you do a PhD? Like there was just so many things that I was like yelling at myself about. And it's not appropriate. Like I shouldn't fault myself for wanting to be successful and have a family.
Right.
And it's all possible. It's just you have to find a solution to help you achieve all those goals. I do believe that everything is possible. Mm-hmm. And my PhD advisor always used to say this to me. He's like, the way to be successful is to increase your lux surface area. And if you're put in a position where you have to make a choice of A or B, the right choice is figuring out how you can have A and B.
I love that. And I completely agree. Yes.
Right. So since then, I've been living my life that way. And I think like we just need to, women put a lot of the blame of having trouble getting pregnant on themselves. And it's not fair. It's our body. You own it. It's meant to do something. We will figure out a way to help you do what it's meant to do.
I love that. And that's one of the bases of this show is we want to help you optimize your fertility in any way that we can. And so that you can have your path to parenthood, whatever that looks like. So exactly. I love that. Yes. So tell us where we can find you. Where can we find Oova? How can we purchase it?
Sure. So you can go to our website, www.oova.life. So that's OOVA.life. and purchase it directly there. We have both a one-time purchase and a subscription model available. If you're working with a clinician, they may have a discount code that you can use to purchase it at a slightly lower price. But yeah, and if you guys have any questions, we're always available on social. Our handle is at Oova Life everywhere. Or you can always contact me. I think you'll be sharing my contact info.
Yes, and I'll put all that in the show notes. And you also, everybody listening to the show, if you want to purchase Oova, I will have a discount code for purchase through me on the show notes. So we'll have that available. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Amy. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and learning more about Oova. So tell us any final thoughts that you might have before we close out.
I really want to hone in on the fact that Oova is trying to empower you with information about your health. It's like so mind-boggling to me that we spend our entire life trying to avoid pregnancy, and you don't really become an expert on fertility care until you're trying to get pregnant and it's not happening. Right. That's where I learned everything. And I'm trained in biology. I was headed to med school. Like, I'm pretty well versed in this space. Right. However, I had no idea what the importance of cervical mucus was. I had no idea why BBT mattered, or why these hormones mattered as I'm monitoring their cycle, like the trends of them, or the variation that you would see. So I really hope that Oova starts to remove that stigma, starts to educate women and empower them with information and data about their body, because we deserve that.
Amen. I completely agree. I always say I wish I could go back to 7th grade and teach every woman about their cycle and about their, their period health and their fertility, all of it, because we just don't learn that. We learn algebra, but we don't learn that. So it's like, well, yeah, it makes no sense. Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I loved getting to know you, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the Hormone Puzzle podcast. Until next time, we'll see you guys then. Bye. I hope you absolutely loved our show today. To receive your free gift and learn more about our sponsor, Oova, visit oova.life and use code THPS1 at checkout for $10 off and free shipping. Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. Make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.